How do accountants help small business owners? My name is Tony Cameron with TLDR Accounting, and we provide tax and accounting services to small business owners and therapists in private practice. So one of the things that always comes up is someone will ask a general question of me, and I'm like, oh, you should totally talk to your accountant about that. They can help you with that. And they're just looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, my accountant can do that? And I'm like, yes, your accountant can do that. Your accountant should be advising you on that. A lot of times, especially in the beginning of starting a small business or a therapy practice, you feel like you have everything under control. You don't need an accountant. Like, oh no, I got this, I'm good. But that doesn't always mean you shouldn't talk to one anyway. I always say that in the beginning, you should at least have one meeting with an accountant just to make sure that everything you thought was true is true. There's a lot of advice out there on the internet these days. Some of it's true, some of it's not. A good example is with becoming an S corporation. We internally in TLDR, we have some strict rules that we think you should hit before you make that switch. And a big part of it is because we want you to have more money in your pocket. And doing an S corporation costs money. There's fees associated with it. There's reoccurring expenses associated with it. And our biggest concern is what happens if it's going to cost you more over the next 5 years because you have one, and then you're going to save in taxes and you have less money in your pocket then. So that's just a common example of a situation that comes up pretty frequently where we're like, no, you should really talk to someone about this. They need to look at the numbers. One of the biggest things that we can do is impartial guidance towards your goals. So if you're like, all right, I want to make $100,000 this year. Here's where I'm currently at. It's August. Here's what clients I have. You know, do you think I'm going to hit this? Do you think that's realistic? I want to hire someone. We can go through your books, go through your numbers, have some discussions with you, and to discuss if your numbers are showing that you are going to make $100,000 this year, or maybe you're not. Maybe we're like, here's what you'd have to do before year end to actually be able to hit that, right? And that's a good thing to know because we want you to hit your goals, but we're also going to be really honest with you about, is that a realistic goal given where you are in your business? My biggest thing is when you're looking at your accounting, your finances, and your taxes, you should always be proactive and not reactive. Meaning you should be looking ahead. The quarter's done. Great. We have your data for the quarter. How are things going? How did you feel the last month went? Do you have a wait list for next month? Are you capped out? Are you thinking about maybe hiring someone because you have a wait list of 20 clients? That sort of thing. It should be looking ahead to the next quarter, the next 6 months, the next year, right? And a good part of that is as things are going along, we can keep an eye on your cash flow. So one of the things we do for our clients is, hey, you should be setting aside X amount this month for your tax payment, which is going to happen in 3 months. You put it in your savings account, you put aside the amount we recommend for your retirement account, you know how much money you made, and just go on to the next month, right? And then when that's due, that estimated tax payment, you already have the money. It's not a big deal. You, instead of talking about, hey, you owe X amount for this quarter, we're talking about, all right, what does next quarter look like? How are you doing here? How do you feel about here? Is your business running smoothly? Do you need to bring on some additional clients? Are you pivoting? Is a pandemic happening and do you need to change how your business is structured? That sort of thing, right? Making sure that you're being proactive instead of reactive is key. Same with cash flow planning, right? Making sure you're setting aside that money each month because especially with your taxes, that's not your money. That's the government's money and you need to pay it in. It's one of the few things where they can be like, nope, you owe us this and we can take it if you end up not paying it. It takes a while for that to happen, but you always stay on the good side of the IRS, right? That is definitely one of the things that we think you should be doing. So overall, while you might not feel that you need to have an accountant, it could be a really good idea, like I said, making sure we're super impartial with your goals and we can be realistic with where you are in your business and where you're trying to go. B, being proactive instead of reactive, planning for those big events that are coming up and making sure that you're following the plan. And then C, lastly, cash flow planning. It's one of the things we work with almost all of our clients on, and it's making sure that no, you are prepared for various things that are going to come up. And any pivots you need to make. Do you have enough cash in the bank for that? Do you have an emergency fund for your business? Do you have an emergency fund for yourself? You know, these are the types of conversations and things that we talk about with our clients. And they're always the things that people are like, oh, you do that? Like you talk about that? We're not just talking about your taxes, which are due in 2 weeks, which is all based on last year, which is forever ago, right? Because your tax return, yes, getting help with your tax return is fantastic, and getting an accountant to help you with it, to outsource it, is great. The biggest thing to remember about your return, though, is it's due 4/15. In April, you're already 3 months into the year. While it gives you a little bit of data about the current year, you have 3 months in the current year you should be looking at, and then looking forward to the rest of the year, right? So you want to make sure you're ahead of that curve, and it's just, oh yeah, we already discussed 2019. We have all the books done, the numbers are done, we're ahead of that, you know, we're ready to go in January, we can get that filed, because you're being proactive. You're looking at where you currently are in your business and where you're trying to go, instead of being like, oh, I still got to get Q4 bookkeeping done. That's not done yet. Oh, I missed an estimated tax payment last year. You know, making sure you're on top of these things is one of the things that an accountant can help with.